So, more on the global warming piece, okay? How about UK scientist has got to step down? That's right, the guy who, ready for this, the chief of the prestigious British Research Centre, caught in a storm of controversy over claims that he and others suppressed data. It gets better. Okay, they flush the data. Now that they've been caught, and not even that, their data was in their computer program, not only they caught, but now they say, well, we got rid of the data. And this is the data that they kept from people, okay, they kept from other scientists from getting access to, even with freedom of information requests. And that's why these emails are important, because they talk about how you can keep other people from looking at our data. And now all of a sudden, their data's lost. They decided to flush it. Why that's important is, if their data was so true, if it was so correct, why wouldn't they save it and use it in their defense, saying, see, this is the way we did it? That's because they hid the decline. They even wrote about it, how to cheat, okay? How to, once again, collude with other people, okay, to control peer-reviewed processes, so people, once again, for you scientific community people, okay, if you can't get your papers peer-reviewed, they're not going to be published, okay? So this is what these scumbags were doing. Now remember, I said Al Gore, I said Bernie Madoff, I said Ken Lay, and I said Goldman Sachs. Understand, this is globalists. This is not American. And when I said John Kerry and Graham, why are they working for the globalists and not for you, America? Anyway, the university said in a statement that Phil Jones, that's the scumbag, okay, whose emails were among the thousands of pieces of correspondence leaked to the internet late last month, okay, would relinquish his position as director of the Climate Research Unit. There you go, folks, okay. The guy's caught. He's losing his job. Now we're told Pennsylvania State, Penn State, is going to check the research. They're going to check the numbers. Well, who are the emails going to? But the guy over at Penn State. So once again, is that Himmler and Goering doing the investigation to find out if Hitler's a crook? You viewers, you have to start asking questions. You know, this global warming lie. Here's a piece, you got to catch this. This is Alex Jones. We've seen some Alex Jones. By the way, watch the Real Story late night movies on Friday night, and you might even see some Alex Jones movies. But here's Alex Jones going over the ClimateGate. Enjoy.
My friends, it is November 23rd, 2009. This is the most important video concerning man-made climate change that we've ever made. This is one of the most important video press releases that I have ever released. Last week, hackers broke into a university computer system in England, the chief UN Climate Center, the main source of information they quote in their different reports. And they released thousands of emails. We've now had a chance to read over these emails. It's in the Associated Press. It's in Reuters. The BBC is covering it. It is a huge international story now known as ClimateGate. And we've had a chance to go over these documents, and it only confirmed what we previously knew. Al Gore, 2 years ago, got caught claiming that carbon dioxide goes up and then temperatures go up. He actually flipped the graphs. Temperature goes up and then carbon dioxide goes up. Different universities, and some of the ones named in these emails, have been caught faking temperature readings from buoys and weather stations around the world. They always claim it's an accident. This chief United Nations scientist, Phil Jones, over the last 5 years has refused to release any of his data, though it's being used for the UN to call for this global climate tax and to ban big televisions and to put tax on beef and taxes on having more than one child, a total control of our society, and they won't release the source data. And that's one of the main reasons that the hackers obviously went into this system and got these emails, because they wanted the climate data. They wanted to force it to be publicly published, not just a boiled down synopsis, because so much of what is in these reports put out by this university and others has already been proven to be a fraud. And when scientists come out and say, well, your information is a fraud, you know, we have the actual weather readings from the sources you quoted, they say, shut up, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're paid by the oil companies, we're not going to let you look at our data. Now we know what happened, and this is so huge. And I'm going to go over the spin they're putting out to try to cover this up, because if this story in full gets out to the public, the global climate tax is over. And we're going to play some clips coming up of the new EU president and others admitting that the global climate tax is the key to global government, global governance. These are quotes from them. The global government is here. It was Enron came up with the idea of the carbon tax in the mid-90s with Al Gore. It's a scam. And it has nothing to do with the environment. And they're on the verge of passing this in Copenhagen next month. and here in the United States with the climate bill now in the Senate that's passed the House. So this couldn't have come out at a more important time. So here are a few key points that I've listed here that I want to go over. This is ClimateGate, number one. Number two, the emails are real. Number three, all the key UN data comes from these fraudulent sources. They would not show the public their data. This is scientific fraud and persecution of scientists that disagreed with them. That's also in the emails. How to persecute, how to blacklist, how to fire people, how to shut people down. I mean, this is criminal racketeering. We need a real investigation of this. Why the fraud? What are the goals of this system? And to use a Star Wars analogy, these several thousand emails are the Death Star plans. But having the Death Star plans is only part of it. We now have to carry out an attack in the info war with this information. We're going to have full reports, in fact, they're already up, at prisonplanet.com and infowars.com detailing all of this. This is a worldwide tax, a fraud against you and your family. You need to educate yourselves immediately and then educate your friends, your family, your neighbors, your elected representatives, your public servants, because this fight is all coming to a head right now. I also want to salute the hackers. They did something the police, MI5, the FBI wouldn't do. There have been Freedom of Information Act requests in the U.S. and similar requests in England that have never released this data. They're scared to release it. It's now public. So I salute the hackers. I don't know who you are, but you're white hat hackers of the greatest epic level. I absolutely bow to you with total respect. Thank you so much, because this is also an example for future hackers to really do important work. This is beautiful. This is epic, and I salute you. All right, briefly. This is ClimateGate. This can bring down their whole system. Because all the other fraud they've been caught in, they always say is an accident. They also have the fraud of saying there's a total consensus. Not one scientist doesn't believe that carbon dioxide is deadly poison and that we're all going to die if we don't tax it or ban it or restrict it when humans exhale 5.5 pounds of it. So they're also saying there's total consensus, even though 30+ thousand scientists sent letters to Congress, and most of the scientists that signed on to the UN document said they were only consulted, that they don't even agree with it. So that's another fraud. But the issue here is the emails are real. Read the Associated Press. Read Reuters. Read the articles where they've called these scientists that are in these emails, these climatologists, and talked to them about it. And they've said, well, yes, we were hacked, and those are our emails, but they're being interpreted wrong. But see, there's a separate media spin right now where the press is saying, well, we don't know if the emails are real. No. The university admits they were hacked, several thousand emails were stolen, and they're now spinning, saying, oh, well, this is being taken out of context. Quotes by Phil Jones to other climatologists writing to colleagues about graphs showing climate statistics over the last millennium. He alludes to techniques used by fellow scientists to hide the decline. And it goes on to say, from 61, for Keith to hide the decline in temperature since 1961. So over and over again, hide the decline, how to manipulate the data. And so understand, they're admitting they were hacked, and they're now countering the emails saying, well, you're misinterpreting what I said. They themselves, because the media contacted them quickly, now they're not talking to the media. They figured out how they screwed up. They're going, well, I didn't mean that when I said it, or, well, you're misinterpreting what I said. They've now, the source has now confirmed these emails. Go read them for yourself on infowars.com or prisonplanet.com. There's thousands of them. We're trying to go through them right now. The worst stuff's coming out every hour. Write your own articles. Post your own blogs. Dig through it. This is a community research project. This is so exciting. So we have that going on. The emails are real. All the key data. This particular university that nexused in with the Goddard Space Center in the U.S. and others, the Climate Research Unit, a leading global research center on climate change run by Professor Phil Jones. He is sourced and quoted everywhere as the one that gives all the data to the UN, and then all the other scientific firms funded by the government, both private and governmental, then just agree with it. And then it's heresy if you question it. So that's going on. All their key data comes from this. This is the bottom card in the house of cards of the first domino, and it's now falling. And it's so essential that everyone get out there ahead of this media spin, because the media, even though the people that wrote the emails are admitting they wrote them,